Hello there, I am the Common Sense Guy and welcome back to my channel. Some of you guys may know me better as Jason. How you all doing? Today we're actually going to be kind of defending Christmas, but at the same time defending a religion of sorts as well. You'll understand as soon as we get into the video. The video today is from a YouTube creator called Shock of God. Yes, he is still around for people that do know who he is, and for people that don't know who he is, you're in for a treat. You're in for a goddamn lovely treat. We're going to be talking about how Father Christmas, or Santa Claus, turns kids into atheists. Not just his opinion, but there's a scientific study that he's done that proves this theory that is called Santa Syndrome. Now, he's very proud of that name, and he says that a couple of times in this video. So, rather than me trying to forewarn you of what's going on or foreshadow what's going on, let's get into the video, shall we?
Okay, folks, we're going to be doing a Christmas ride, and every year, every other year, I'll do a public service announcement on the dangers of Santa Claus. So please don't tell your kids about Santa.
So, straight away, we have Shock of God obviously going on saying that he does this almost every other year. A public service announcement to try and make sure that he is able to tell kids or to tell parents of children that you shouldn't be telling children about Santa Claus. And we'll get into the reasons why, or he will do, but I just wanted you to understand that this is a public service announcement that he does regularly. Apparently he does this, as he says, every 2 years as a public service announcement.
You could lead him to be an atheist. So I'm going to tell you a funny story, and then I'm actually very cold in California. Go ahead. Okay. Very Christmassy out here. So when I first came to YouTube, I used to be an atheist, and then I became a Christian, right? So I started doing these videos on Christianity. Now, what I'm going to tell you is going to seem funny at first, like it's a joke, but I'm totally 100% serious. So, let's get some air in here. So, I started doing these like Bible study videos and stuff like that, and then atheists would actually respond to me and they would say, well, I bet you believe in Santa.
Now look, I'm not here to defend people that are hypothetical people and may not even be real in the first place, you know, like God, but I just wanted to point out to you that the reasons why some people would say, oh, do you believe in Santa? It's the same reasons why some people would say, do you believe in the Easter Bunny? It is to draw a comparison between what they believe, entities in which are fictional, in which you believe. It's the same as when they say, well, I could believe as the Spider-Man comic books as my Bible for Spider-Man. It is a comparison. It doesn't necessarily mean that they believe in that, or they believe that you believe in that. It is to draw a comparison. It is to link the two together, which is funny, because at the end of this video, you do that so well for Christianity and so well for Christmas in general that it almost warrants its own video. Almost. Not quite, but almost.
So, at first I was like surprised, like, man, these atheists are obsessed with Santa Claus.
Again, no, it is a form of a comparison to say that you believe in this deity, you must also believe in this other fictional deity. It is to form a comparison.
I started doing a study on this. I started realizing there's a link, I'm not making this up, I'm going to prove it to you, between atheism and Santa Claus.
Right, so let me get this completely and utterly squared away. You think that one fictional character stops another fictional character from being believed. Well, you are in part correct on that. But as you later on elaborate in this video, we actually tell the kids that Santa Claus isn't real. Or they work it out for themselves when they see Mummy and Daddy drop presents off, or actually go out and buy the presents in which they sent to Santa Claus. Which, for somebody that's trying to do a scientific study on Santa Claus, and if it takes you away from being a Christian, you don't even understand the origins of Santa Claus, how it originated from Nordic countries, and how it started off in Holland, and how it moved across in the rest of Europe, and then was adopted by pagans, and then was adopted by the church in itself to add to actual Christianity. But then again, you would obviously know all that because you did the scientific research.
It's called Santa Syndrome. So, at first, I didn't think there was anything to it.
Wait, so you come up with a theory that first you didn't think that there was anything to it. You've then convinced yourself that there is something to this theory that you magically concocted. And then you went out to try and look for some collaborating data to prove your theory. I'm not sure if you understand how science actually works, but that's what you call skewered science. You come up with a theory, and then you go and try and prove your theory. You don't look for evidence to fit your theory. You do evidence to see if the theory is correct, not try and falsify the theory. But, you know, let's have a look at your science paper at the end, shall we?
So, I started video recording atheists and their responses, how they would equate God with Santa Claus, and this fascinated me. It became an obsession to find out the reason why atheists are so obsessed about Santa Claus. And I noticed when I would talk about God, they would talk about Santa Claus. Now, you know, Santa is a contingent being, so it doesn't make sense to equate Santa Claus with God. And you know the history of Santa Claus. It was a story made up by the Coca-Cola company.
Again, it wasn't a story that was made up by the Coca-Cola company. It was a story that was adapted by the Coca-Cola company. In actual fact, it was from Santa Claus, which is from the Dutch, and also from the Nordics, which was Odin that used to ride around on his sleigh with whatever, and was able to give off some presents and whatnot, and decide if you were naughty or nice. It was then adapted by the Dutch to the Dutch, where they put him into a green suit, as far as I'm aware, and then the Coca-Cola company, many years later, after realizing this legend or whatever, was then able to adapt it into a advertisement and change it into Father Christmas, as we so well know at this moment in time, which is still classified as St. Nicholas, which you also have roots in Romania as well, if you ever want to have a look at that. Hence why St. Nicholas was actually called St. Nicholas. But that would all pop up in your research, wouldn't it? And the reasons why, again, I feel that I have to keep on reiterating this because he's not being honest with you guys when he's speaking. The reasons why certain atheists or certain people that would use this in a debate tactic or would use this in a discussion is to point out that you are equating one fictional deity to another fictional deity and saying, why would you believe in God when you could believe in Santa Claus? And why don't you believe in Santa Claus but you believe in God? It is to distinguish why you picked a single deity over another deity. It's the same as saying, well, why would a Christian be Christian rather than being Muslim? It is equating a question. It's an equivalency.
Then what happened? People started telling their kids about Santa. They started, how you doing, brother? They started telling their kids about Santa. And some of these kids, when they found out there was no Santa, it's okay, go ahead. It really traumatized them.
for anybody that didn't realise, and for anybody that's not really paying attention or following along at this moment in time, this is the crux of his argument. That because people started telling their children about Santa Claus, and because their children found out that there's no real Santa Claus, as in finding out that one fictional deity or one fictional character isn't actually real, he thinks that this equates to people turning into atheists. He thinks this is the reasons why people would go from believing in Santa Claus to becoming an atheist completely and utterly with no chances of Christianity whatsoever. The only thing that I would ever say to that, and as I said at the beginning, this is the reason why defending a religion in some aspects, is why do you think Christians that do also believe in Santa Claus tell their kids that there is a Santa Claus, and then are able to then keep the religion and the faith in itself and still be Christian when they find out that Santa Claus isn't real? It doesn't seem to be a universal point or universal theory that you could be able to prove. It just seems to think that you're trying to equate something with something that's not actually there.
See, here's what happens. This is why I'm doing this public service announcement. I do not want parents to lie to their kids and tell them that they're Santa, because they're going to grow up to be atheist.
Ooh, hypocrisy. How I love the smell of that in the morning. So, you don't want to have children lied to about Father Christmas, but yet somebody that's atheist is the moral one for believing that there is no God, or the lack of belief that there is no God, and wanting you to stop, in their opinion, lying to your children about it. It's almost like there are similarities between believing in Father Christmas and believing in a God. Almost something that's like, what's the word? An equivalency to be able to be used, isn't it? Wow. And this is coming out of your own mouth, and you're the ones who are supposed to be defending this. Amazing.
Do you know most kids that are atheist, and most atheists are kids?
Did you hear that little slip there? Did you hear it? Did you? Most atheists are kids, but all kids are atheists. Did you get that? Do you know the reasons why all kids are atheists to begin with? Because we come into this world not believing in anything. It is only our conditioning or our choices or experiences that lead us to believing in certain situations and deities. When kids are born, they are born atheist. They are made to be religious. Just thought I'd leave that there as you so eloquently slipped that into your own video there, Shock of God.
It traumatizes these little kids so much that they then start doubting God. Well, if my parents lied to me about Santa Claus, and it traumatized them so much, it hurt them so much.
So you're trying to say that anybody or everybody that has ever been told that Santa Claus is not real, or has proved it themselves or found out themselves, whatever way you want to call it, is traumatized so much by that fact that the trauma itself causes people to become atheist because they think, what else has people lied to me about? Do you know what that actually really is? That's what people call critical thinking. Not you equating the fact of you thinking that it causes so much trauma that it causes an aversion to believing in deities, but it actually causes people to think critically and look at evidence to be able to prove if something is real or isn't real. At least most of the time it does. It's actually a form of critical, logical thinking to be able to prove something is real versus is this real? In other words, proof versus faith.
It traumatizes them to where they become an atheist. I'm telling you, parents, do not lie to your kids and tell them they're Santa Claus.
Or a god.
You know, I think a lot of the parents that say that they're Santa Claus, they're not Christians.
Wow. And no true Scotsman's fallacy. If nobody does what I think that they should do, then they're not really Christian. So if you believe in Santa Claus, which I don't, or you want to tell your children that Santa Claus is true and I don't, then you're not a real Christian. God damn it.
They're sort of irreligious, like, yeah, they believe God exists, they say they're Christians, but they're not really full-on, full-fledged, born-again Christians.
Just wow. That's just all I've got to say on that. Just wow.
But Santa syndrome is real. Let me summarize it for you. See, when a child with this brain full of mush is told by the people he trusts the most that there is a Santa Claus by their parents,
or if there's a God,
come to YouTube. I start doing these videos. Even in my debates, the atheists would say, well, I bet you believe in Santa. I'm like, this is so weird that this atheist has a knee-jerk reaction. The minute I say God, he starts obsessing. I mean, where it's unhealthy, you guys. He starts obsessing about Santa Claus. It is a disease.
Yeah, guys, it's the disease that you tell your children that there is a Santa Claus to make them feel better about Christmas.
Now, I have a confession to make. When I first came to YouTube, at first I thought, oh, this is going to be like a funny video. I can talk and type about how atheists are obsessed with Santa. But as I started investigating it more, it became troubling to me that there is a link. See, it's funny, but there is a link between atheism and Santa Claus.
Right, well, I'm done. I can't stand stupidity any longer than what I have to, and at this moment in time, I believe that I'm not too bad, I'm alright at this moment in time. Let's quickly go and have a look at this gentleman's website, shall we? So, just to prove that this is Shock of God's video that we're going to, and it's his thing, you can see it. Oh look, is Santa Claus making your kids atheists? Shock of God. Show more in the description. These are supposedly all the links to YouTube channels and everything else like that he's supposed to have done. But we're more interested in this bit. That bit there. Conservapedia. Conservapedia.com. So let's have a look, see if it's actually up, shall we? When I looked earlier, it wasn't up. So, this is in Conservapedia. And because it's on it's on Conservapedia. Does this mean that it's true? Let's see what sources that we have here, shall we? Let's read source. View sources. You do not have permission to edit this page for the following reasons, blah blah blah. You can view and copy the source page. Existence of God, reference, in the book Christian No More. So, where's the psychological study? There's no study there, that's just telling you what it is, debunking atheists and things like that. No psychological study whatsoever there. In the book Christian No More, describe his suffering from Santa syndrome, because somebody says that the reasons why he didn't carry on being a Christian was because of him finding out that there's no Santa, is justification for saying that everybody has that. Interesting. This finding led to the authors, again carry on with the authors, is still there. Besides providing an explanation on why atheists adopt atheism, there is another motivation for Shock of God coming up with this term, Santa syndrome. He did it in order to poke fun at the atheist comparison of Christianity to Santa Claus, and to show that some atheists adopt atheism for the childish reason of discovering that Santa Claus is not real, and then concluding that Christianity is not true as a result. See also, atheism is irrationality, apparently, and atheism is and logic, and atheism and logical fallacies. So external link. True Free Thinker articles. Oh, it's almost like it's a blog, isn't it? Anything that's there? No, there's nothing there. The truth about Santa Claus? No. Humour? No. Interesting. So there's no psychological studies, there's no scientific studies that proves what this is. So let's go and actually read very quickly what I presume Shock of God would have actually wrote on this. So Santa syndrome is a psychological syndrome causing affected individuals to ultimately accept atheism. Even though atheism isn't about accepting, it's the lack of belief in. But you know, conflating different meanings, I'm sure that has nothing to do on something that's supposed to be a meaningful website. Most individuals discover or are told that the supernatural aspects associated with the Christmas tradition of Santa Claus, such as him riding a sleigh led by reindeer and giving all good children around the world Christmas presents, are legend and are simply practiced in order to enrich your experience of celebrating the holy day, which is completely and utterly correct. It is. Same as the holy day in itself, doesn't mean that there was an actual person called Jesus that was born on the 25th of December, blah blah blah, so many years ago, that actually was the Son of God. Just saying. However, individuals with this syndrome, which you haven't actually stated what the syndrome is, you're just trying to abbreviate it to say that, well, if you lost faith in Santa Claus and you disbelieve Christianity as a result, then it doesn't matter. It's a stepping stone. If you can find out that one deity doesn't exist and then you can use critical thinking to prove other deities don't exist, then that's critical thinking. The same as if Christians and Muslims were to argue over what God is real. In actual fact, their Abrahamic God is supposed to be the same God, just written in a different way in different understandings or interpretations. But you know, blasphemy. So guys, that in itself is what this story is done. It's all done, all finished. Thank you very much. I'll see you all again real soon. Thank you for watching this video and taking the time to do that. Please leave a like, please share, please subscribe if you want to. With all that being said, bye guys, take care.